Hi guys, Janus here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to tell you about a problem that I've been meticulously researching now for over 14 years. That problem is how to easily and effectively supercharge blood vessel growth in any organ. Well, I'm happy to say that after all of my hard work, I have finally come up with a solution. The answer, however, ladies and gentlemen, requires kickstarting a revolution. In the coming months, I will be slowly unveiling an entirely new form of bodybuilding, which will revolutionize our health as a collective and forever change the way we see ourselves. For right now, however, I want to share with everyone an immediately practical, never before seen technique that I've invented called the Angion Method. This technique is all you will need to not only beat erectile dysfunction, but start putting on serious size below the belt. The Angion method is a technique specifically designed to selectively stimulate blood vessel growth. What's more, anybody can do it. This technique relies on the fact that the human vascular system is closed and therefore relies on a vacuum to circulate blood. I discovered that by applying and holding an external compressive force on a vein and then dragging this compressive force in a direction of natural blood flow in a repetitive manner, I was able to literally pull vast amounts of arterial blood into a given tissue. Now, after some trial and error along with additional research, I devised two approaches for applying this technique that can be alternated for the best possible results. These two approaches are called burst expansion and pyramid rush. Once you get these two down, beating erectile dysfunction and getting the size of your dreams can completely stop being a chore and start being a lot of fun. First things first though, an anatomy lesson. Alright, behind me here, I have drawn a male sex organ that shows the veins that are located on the back side of the shaft that we're going to be exploiting for this exercise. Notice this large vein right in the middle of all the smaller veins connected to it. Okay. This area, right in through here, is where we want to apply that compressive force and then drag that downwards towards the pubic mound. To move as much blood as possible, it's best to start just below the glands and then move down to the base. Alright, next, I wanted to show everyone a cross-section of a male phallus so that way you've got a better idea and a better view of some of the blood vessels this exercise directly stimulates. Now, some of you may have immediately noticed that there is not just one, but two veins right here on top. This is the back side of the shaft that I showed you prior. So whenever you apply that compressive force, don't be afraid to really bear down to get the best results. But just remember, pleasure not pain. This is an exercise that should be very pleasurable. Any pain is a bad thing. Next, the areas I want to draw your attention to are here, here, and then these two right here. The male phallus is supplied arterial blood flow by these four arteries that run in the very center of obviously the corpus cavernosum and then along the sides of the corpus spongiosum. These four arteries are the origin of the male phallus, and yes, I said origin. Whenever we were little, our member was essentially only these four arteries. However, after being repeatedly bathed in various growth factors and exposed to different types of stimulation, these arteries came to form countless offshoots that would eventually come to be your corpora chambers. In my research, I came to discover that what we think of as the spongy mass of smooth muscles inside the corpora cavernosum, these two chambers here, and then obviously the spongiosum here, is in actuality an enormous grouping of interconnecting arteries of various sizes. Typically, these interconnecting arteries are much larger towards the middle around these blood vessels, and then much smaller as they radiate out further. In short, ladies and gentlemen, the size of the male phallus is in direct proportion to the size of these four arteries. The bigger the arteries get, the bigger a male sex organ will become. The Angion method is designed to selectively and directly stimulate arteries in a manner that encourages them to grow. Essentially, this technique allows a user to consciously control how their vascular system develops. With time and obviously dedication, the Angion method allows for a simply unprecedented degree of body sculpting and shaping. If, while using the Angion method, you decide to treat it like bodybuilding by, say, eating a surplus of calories and then alternating your workout days with rest, your member literally cannot help but grow. For growth, all you need to do is eat healthy, eat a good amount of calories, and then do this exercise. All the other exercises that you might have heard about that target the male sex organ are a complete waste of time, if not outright dangerous. The reason for this is because many other techniques only indirectly stimulate blood vessel growth. This exercise, however, ladies and gentlemen, is unadulterated blood vessel stimulation. For the cost of some more food, a bottle of silicone lube, and a little bit of your time every day, you can completely transform yourself below the belt. Alright, so now that I've motivated everybody, let me go ahead and show you exactly how you do all of this.
Okay, for this portion, I'm going to be using this cucumber to demonstrate burst expansion and pyramid rush. At this time, before we get to the demonstration portion, I would highly recommend pausing the video to get yourself situated. This exercise is designed to be used on an erection and requires a good amount of lubrication. After you get yourself situated, go ahead and unpause the video. I'm going to show you the exact way to perform each of these exercises. The first exercise I'm going to demonstrate is burst expansion. This approach to the Angion method helps to quickly shock blood vessels into fully opening. This increase in dilation is crucial to the effectiveness of pyramid rush, which provides an enduring stimulation. Let's go ahead and get to it. First things first, notice how I have cupped the top of the cucumber with my right hand. Since both approaches to the Angion method need unimpeded blood flow to work properly, any kind of grip on the shaft of your member will reduce the rate at which blood is drawn through your vessels. The same can be said for the glands. None of this. This exercise draws an enormous amount of blood through nearly all the vessels feeding your member. A cupped hand is ideal. After you've done that, it's on to mastering the second portion. With your left hand, put your thumb just below the glands and apply that compressive force. Basically, press your shaft with enough force to occlude the veins running along the middle. Now drag it down quickly. You may have just felt an odd squelching vibration at the base of your shaft as blood was drawn into your corporate chambers via arteries and then out through your veins. Remember, that feeling, that's what you want to be focusing on. Let's do it again. Each time you do this, blood is rushing into and out of your member, stimulating your blood vessels to open up much more than normal. The next step is to speed up this process a bit. This is where the burst part comes into play. Just like we did before, start just under the glands and then drag your thumb down to the base while keeping pressure on the veins. Then return your thumb to the starting position. Go ahead and pause the video to do this a couple times so you feel comfortable and know exactly where your vein is located. Once you feel ready, unpause the video to begin the full demonstration. Try to match my pace if you can. More than likely, your member has already started to jump with your heartbeat. This is nothing in comparison to how much it will move after you start pyramid rush. Go ahead and pause the video again to perform this burst expansion exercise for 30 seconds for an additional 3 sets. Give yourself a few seconds in between each one to get fully hard again. Now that your arteries have really opened up, it's time to pile on the stimulation. Blood naturally moves throughout the body at a fairly good clip. So in order for this exercise to be effective, it's important to do it quickly. Keeping that in mind, pyramid rush needs to have a solid base speed. This approach consists of 3 rates of blood flow manipulation. Allow me to demonstrate. Here is stage 1. Next, stage 2. And then lastly, stage 3. This one's the hardest to maintain, and you might get a hand cramp. It just happens. Don't worry about it. But this is called pyramid rush. So now that we're on the 3rd, we back down to the 2nd. And then to the 1st. And that is a full set.
So guys, unlike in this video, where I've shortened each stage for demonstration purposes, my usual workouts consist of me performing each stage of a pyramid rush for around a minute. Essentially, one pyramid rush takes me about 5 minutes. When I first started, I usually completely lost my erection barely 2 minutes in, and my veins were chronically collapsing due to my arteries simply not being adequately developed. I remember planning to perform a pyramid rush at least 4 times my very first workout. I barely got through 2. While I've done the best to keep myself healthy throughout my life, I've admittedly never had the best erectile health, and the Angion method really showed me that. Now, however, my vessels have developed to a point where I can actually temporarily make myself dizzy by going fast enough. By my 3rd week of daily training, I was no longer losing my erection while exercising. I now can consistently perform 5 or more sets with almost no problems. What's more, my members started remaining very full throughout the day, even during intense bouts of, say, sprinting and cardio, where previously I would completely lose all blood flow. The state persisted. To help everyone better understand exactly how the Angion method works, I've drawn behind me here a rudimentary model of the male pelvis. In this model, I've included the aorta, the 2 branches that feed our legs, the twin branches known as the internal iliac arteries, which then deposit into the internal pudendal arteries that then terminate inside the male phallus. Every time we perform a repetition by moving blood in the direction of natural flow through our veins, we create an area of negative pressure that pulls blood through this entire section of arteries here. In this way, not only does the Angion method stimulate the corporate chambers of the male phallus, it also directly stimulates the very blood vessels that feed them. It's this twofold approach that makes the Angion method so effective for not only beating erectile dysfunction, but helping guys put on serious size below the belt. Alrighty guys, this concludes my first video. If you'd like to see future videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. In my next video, I'm going to go in depth and I'm going to explain exactly how and why this is the only exercise that will grow your member, along with all the other benefits that come with regular use. Hope everyone has a good day and see you next time.